Alrighty, well, I got the Honda setting on here. I got to bolt it down yet. Looks like everything's going to work up pretty good. I have to check and make sure that I got my belts aligned. It almost looks like I need to go a little farther towards the motor, but that shouldn't be too hard to do. Can't go much farther, maybe a quarter of an inch. I don't know if that's enough or not. And then the motor might be able to go forward a little bit too. Well, there's some debris trying to get my debris down in here. Let's get that. All right, well, that's enough for the time. Got the motor setting in there. I have a little shim under here. I don't have it tight yet, but anyway, because I had a bolt sticking up on the bottom here, and that put the motor off a little. But like a dummy, this pulley was in here, and I cut part of it off because it didn't seem to clear the motor. Well, the problem with that is it's not wide enough to catch them two belts in there. So I'm going to try to add a little bit more onto this belt, this pulley here. I don't want this too much because it just barely misses that. So maybe if I can put a, I don't know, half an inch or something back on it, and put the, I think, you know, it's a little bit out of whack. So I need to put that motor pulley back a little bit farther because it's not quite straight up and down, and that should help some of it. So what I'm going to do, what I'm going to try to do, is take a piece of this pipe that I straightened out because I don't have any flat metal. I measured it and it comes out to the right distance. I'm going to try to just cut a little piece off here, and with my usual tacky welding abilities, attempt to fix that with this. Don't know how it'll work, but we'll see. All right, I'm going to get back with more. We'll look at it again. I'm going to try to get that thing somewhat round here. Look, trying to go too far out of whack. All right. I'm going to go crooked too. Yeah, there you go. A little bit crooked. One thing about it, it's easy to form back. I don't know if we work this way or not. It's not very easy because we already got it started the other way. See how far we are off here. Let's see how far off we are here. Yep. It's going to be pretty close to right, I think. Get on here. Enter this. Let's go over here. I've got a little hump up here that might be taken care of. I don't know if a person could start to tack weld that or not. On that big old furnace blower over there getting warm, I don't want to do that, so I'll be back. Try to put this pulley back the way it was. I've straightened out some metal and put on here. I'm going to tack it a little bit here and there, and then just keep moving it around, and I'll have to attempt to weld the inside and make it right. So we'll get back later on. Well, it ain't pretty and it ain't perfect, but I think it'll work. Mostly it's welded on the inside there, such as it is. It's pretty thin metal. I'm not good at wire feed welding, so I'm using the old stick on there, and the smallest rods have them 1/8 inch, no, what? Yeah, 1/8 inch, I guess. So it'll probably work. We'll see. I'm going to have to move the motor forward about 1 inch because I don't have enough clearance for that pulley after I whittled around on and refurbished. So I got about 1 inch farther up here. I got to bore a hole through this, and there's already a bolt right in here. You can't see it, I know, but the hole's right here. So I'm just going to move this hole up from here to this distance, which is about 1 inch. So we'll get with it and see what happens after that. All right, I had to bore an extra hole in here because it wasn't going to line up. It's too far back, and I use this bolt here, which is one that goes all the way into this, down here, to anchor the motor in. This had a longer bolt. And amazingly, this belt guide that came off of that Tecumseh engine, they had appropriate bolt holes for that right here. And I didn't get metric bolts, so I just used the ones there I had, so, and they fit. I think it was, I don't know, maybe this thing's not got all foreign bolts on it, I don't know. But, okay, so the air filter they sent me didn't work, I sent it back. But I see why. The one that's supposed to go in here were $50, the one I got was 23, so maybe that's the reason. I may just make something. It won't take much to make a little air box up here, so, with a filter in it. Okay, we'll get busy. I'm going to try to figure out something on the exhaust here in a minute. When we scrapped out that old house next door, why there was a furnace in there and had these pipes. I don't know what that's called, exchange or what it is, but they got bends and all that stuff in them. So I think that's going to work all right for my exhaust pipe. This pipe's had these little curly deals in it. I want to see if I can stick that back in without restricting any airflow. I'll have to cut that off and somehow or attach that. I don't know if it'll work like a muffler or not, but we'll see. I drilled a hole through this, and this already had a hole in it. Stuck a cotter key in it to keep that thing coming out. I don't know if it'll work like a muffler or not. It kind of twists. I don't know, it might kind of twist. I don't like loud noises anymore, so I don't know, I might put a muffler on it. Okie dokie, well that's the way it's going to look. It's not in the way of anything unless you stick your foot up here and burn your foot. It's not harming anything else up there, so now I got to get busy and work on the other side. I got this exhaust pipe on this side too, and I put them little squirrely in there too. Now, if you're going to be cutting grass, which I'm not going to, I already jumped the deck off this thing. You might not want it blowing right down there like that, but I don't really see a problem with this. Now, the big problem yet to come, I got to figure out where to put the gas tank. So that and air filter, and I guess well, I don't have to have air filter started, but I don't want to run it very long without it. Alrighty, that's it for now. We'll get back later. Well, this is where we are so far. We got the throttle all rigged up. I had to swap sides because the choke cable wasn't going to fit right, so I had an extra cable here. I put the battery in, and I got to figure out where I'm going to put a gas tank, and I'm probably going to have to put a fuel pump on it because if I can find a small gas tank and put it in here, it's not going to be high enough to gravity feed the carburetor, I don't think. So we'll take another look around here. Amazingly, everything seemed to fit up pretty good. Now when it comes to the wiring, all I want to do is start, run, and turn off. I don't care about anything else. I'm not going to use the lights. I don't care if it charges because that battery over there is a small car battery, as you can see it. And I can charge it. My red lawnmower doesn't charge. There's not a lawnmower, my little bulldozer. It can go like long time before I put it on the charger, so I'm not even worried about that. Get her up where we can go, and then once we get this going, gotta figure out why they turned the blades around backwards on that tiller down. Because now I tried it at one time, and it takes off and pushes you faster than the tractor will run. So I gotta turn them around. Hope that works. If it don't, I don't know what I'll do. All right, that's it for now. We're gonna go in the house.